Yo, what is going on, team? This is Art, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I set up my charts. So this is going to be going over my indicator set, and I'm also going to be explaining my custom indicator. There is a link in the description below, and I'll be explaining how to install that and how to use it and read it effectively. It's 100% free for you guys to check out. I'm not going to ask you for any money or anything. Just give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I'll appreciate it. So that said, we've got our plain chart. You just logged onto THINKORSWIM for the first time. This is the brokerage that I use personally. I prefer this over Robinhood, and that is because you have a more powerful tool. It's kind of just a pick your flavor kind of thing when you choose a brokerage, but honestly, anything over things like Robinhood will help you. So let's get this thing on the road. First of all, this is what you see when you start the program for the first time ever. This is what my charts look like normally. So definitely a difference. Firstly, I start off by going into the gear and I go to overlap volume. And just like what the name says, it overlaps your volume. It's a simple thing. I like how it looks personally. Some people don't, but that's just me personally. So next, I'm going to go into the edit studies. And I'm going to be looking up simple moving average. I use the 9, 20, 50, and 200-day moving averages. So I will be adding 1, 2, 3, 4 simple moving averages. The 9 SMA is already set how I like it. So it's already in blue. I like using blue for the 9 SMA because it's easy to see. Next, we have the 20 SMA. So we're just going to swap this to a 20. And I personally like using pink for the 20 SMA. You hit OK. Then you go to your next one. You've got the 50 SMA, so 50. I personally like using green. Again, it's choose what you like, just something that you'll remember. Next, you have the 200-day moving average, and this one I will always have as red. I think red is something, to keep in mind because it is the most important of the simple moving average lines. This is your floor or your ceiling when it comes to trading in the stock market, and I like to set the width as 2. So you can very clearly see it in case there's a lot of red candles kind of blocking it. So we're going to hit apply. And now we have our simple moving averages. Overall, still kind of a little bit, I don't know what I'm looking at, right? So here's what we have when you actually zoom it in and what it kind of shows. So notice that now we have our moving averages that you can see and how it rides support, say on this 9 SMA. And once we broke above the 200-day moving average, we ripped upwards. Notice we bounce right here above the 200-day moving average and head even higher. So overall, just a nice little tool to have. I like to use them as support and resistance lines and profit targets. So next, we're going to go back into our studies tab, edit studies. I like using RSI personally. So this is the relative strength indicator. Only thing I change out of RSI, I change this to 15 and I change this to 31. That's all I change. So we hit OK, apply. Now we have our RSI. So here we have RSI. Whenever it gets into this oversold area, I typically look at taking a reversal long play. And so notice every time it hits this oversold, we typically see a small kind of rebound. And this is a pretty regular thing. So next, we're going to be adding our MACD. There's various MACDs that you can use. I personally like using MACD 2 lines. And with MACD 2 lines, I set this to 15 and I set this to 30. And so overall, again, this is another indicator that I like using. So apply. And now this is starting to look like an actual chart. So notice we have crossover events. And here's how I use my indicator set as a system. So we have our crossover. And once you have a crossover, say like right here, we have a crossover. That's our change of trend. And notice we fall below the 200-day moving average. So this was our confirmation to the downside. This is now an H pattern, crossover, and we're heading downwards on RSI. That's a 3-point confirmation to the downside. I am now very willing to take a position short as we are now below the 200-day moving average. And notice we tried to bounce back, but we broke our head over here on resistance for the 200-day moving average, and we headed even lower. And until we saw that crossover and that RSI shift out of oversold, we did not head back up. And notice we did see again that resistance at the 200-day moving average. So that's just a quick little, how I'm using that. Lastly, I do have my other indicators. So I have a free indicator for you guys to use. That is the one that I have in the description. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's my beta testing one. So we have this right here. And so basically, you're going to be taking this program, you're going to put it in its own line, you're going to hit the gear icon, you have P1, P2, P3, and all you're going to do is hit show plot, show bubble, show title, take all of those off for P1, P2, and P3. You leave P4 completely alone. I personally like it as a yellow line. I just call it the golden line here, but you can change it as whatever color you want, and you hit apply. And notice that the indicator now shows you these little reversals. So pretty much with this indicator, you are looking at the 3 mark and the 0 mark for shorts and longs. You go long at 0, you go short at the 3. But this is more of a swing trade indicator. I would not use this on a small time frame basis, so a 5-minute chart, a 15-minute chart. I use this for hourly and 4-hour charts. So notice today we started from 0, that was that first green candle, and we immediately started climbing into 3. So that was what indicated me to be short today. And we headed lower the entire day. And notice that even though we did fall back down to 1, we did scoot back up to 3. So overall, it was kind of a nice little extra confirmation to the downside for me to take a position like that. And then say I go into Tesla. It works again with any stock. So notice we went from 0 all the way from here, relative green day to flat. And then we start climbing in terms of our golden line. And then as we start climbing, you hit 3 and we start just selling off. Overall, we are oversold on Tesla. I do expect it to kind of bounce on this 200 SMA overall, but that's just for another day. So that is how you kind of read this chart. At 3, you go short. At 0, you go long. And that's how you install it. There's a link in the description. It's free. And overall, that's just kind of a few examples of how you use this. Again, here is a 4-hour chart. Notice we ping from 0 to 3 over here. And we fell for a good 3 straight days. And so when you see that, it's just a nice little confirmation to whatever position you have overall. Again, it's mainly for swing trades. I wouldn't use it more for day trades, to be honest, because it is a little bit of a lagging indicator. It does give you a very good idea, though, of the trend, and I think that is what the most strong point of this indicator is. And that is how you set up my charts. This is exactly how I trade in the stock market and what I look at. And pretty much I use the simple moving average lines as support and resistance spots, and I use the MACD, RSI, and I use the SMA lines as confirmations. So say we bounce on the 200-day moving average, we have a crossover to the upside, and say RSI is relatively neutral, I would be very confident that we bounce on 200 SMA and head upwards. So that's just, a quick little example of how to use that. And overall, I hope that this does help you guys. I would suggest heavily that you don't use brokerages like Robinhood because they don't really give you that much options for you to play on indicator sets. I know that they recently added like MACD, but it's still like the most rudimentary of MACDs, and they did add the moving averages. But that said, there is very nice programs that you can use, and if you are very diligent in what you're looking at, you can definitely follow a system. I personally have been sticking to this system for about 2 years now, and that's how I've been very consistent recently in the stock market, just trading options. And so as you guys can see, in my profit chat, I've been posting extremely big profits because I'm just following the indicators. I don't overtrade. I only take positions that I'm confident on. And overall, that's what's been helping me the most. So say I log on to /NQ. So this is the QQQ futures. We're down 0.1%. And overall, we are crossed to the downside. I expect this thing to maybe head even lower going into Federal Open Market Committee tomorrow. And also notice that we bounced off the 200-day moving average today and we rejected it to the downside. So if we don't hold on to 9 SMA, we will end up falling back down to either 13,000 or even 12,800. That's just how I see it as of right now. Obviously, there could be changes, but that is at least how I'm reading the charts as we speak of 8/16/2021 going into 8/17 or 3/17/2021. That's pretty much the trade setup. And overall, I think that if you follow something, it doesn't have to be exactly what I use, but if you follow a system, you can definitely be consistent, and overall, you'll do well. Remember that 90% of traders will lose money because of this reasoning. You do not have any system. And just like McDonald's being able to run off of people who are teenagers, their system is perfected and they're able to be consistent with what they're doing. So overall, I highly suggest that you guys learn a system, whether it be mine or something else, but you stick to it and you learn it so that way you can figure out the quirks and everything. And that'll conclude this video. I appreciate you guys for watching. I have that link in the description again with instructions on how to install it shown in this video. And overall, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.